Welcome to another episode of Gotham Sound Follies. I am here with Glenn Sanders of Zaxcom. Glenn, thanks for taking the time to come to Gotham.
Great to be here today, Peter.
We're here to talk about the Zaxcom ZMT-Phantom 2. Tell me a little bit about the differences between the Phantom 2 and the original Phantom.
Well, basically what we've done is we were able to include a power supply, a new power supply, that provides power to Phantom mics as well as lavalier mics in the same package. So now when you purchase the ZMT Phantom 2, you can use it basically for boom poles, plant mics in a balanced configuration, and you could also plug it into any of the lavaliers that Zaxcom generally works with. And that would give you basically a transmitter that's how should I say, for all seasons.
Awesome. So it replaces the original ZMT Phantom?
Yes, it replaces the ZMT Phantom.
Any difference in price?
No difference in price. Both are U.S. list price of $19.95. And basically, we looked at the transmitter and we basically said, you know what? This would be a really nice thing to do. And in order to do what we need for our customers, we were able to design in this power supply that gives us a really fantastic lavalier capability, right, with an extremely high dynamic range on the lavalier, yet maintaining the balanced input that we have for all of the shotgun mics and plant mics and what have you.
So previously to this, the transmitter could only do Phantom power. The ZMT Phantom could only do Phantom, couldn't work with lavs, and now
that is correct.
Now it can work with lavs.
That is right. I think that an interesting thing to note about this transmitter, as well as the previous transmitter, is that the Phantom power is a pretty complex thing. In other words, it not only does 48 volts, but it'll do 48, 36, 24, and 12 volts.
Why is that desirable?
Well, that's really great because there's a lot of microphones, like for instance, something like this DPA 4017 that I brought today. And when we plug this in, yes, it's a 48 volt microphone, but the thing that people don't always realize is that there's often a lot of latitude on these mics. So for instance, we can save approximately half the power when it comes to running this microphone by setting the transmitter to 36 volts. And that does not affect the audio quality of this microphone.
No trade-off in audio quality, but of course, lowering the power requirements increases
that's right.
the battery capacity.
That's right. I think that if you look at the transmitter, I mean, first of all, the ZMT series is literally the smallest, lightest transmitter that you're going to get in a professional recording situation. And when you look at the running time of it, that we're able to achieve often 4 hours of consistent runtime on these types of microphones. And, in something that is literally as small as a Zippo lighter, that's quite an achievement.
So speaking of hours at a time, to have that small transmitter on the end of a boom pole all day really does make a big difference in terms of the weight on the boom pole and the strain of the boom operator.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what has traditionally been on boom poles, I mean, even from Zaxcom, I mean, we make the TRX 743, which is designed specifically for boom poles, where it'll handle stereo mics and AES 42 mics. This was designed to be as small and light as possible. So you're able to actually take this transmitter and put it right behind the microphone on the boom pole, pull the cable out of the pole, and this transmitter is so light, I mean, it's only about 2 ounces, that you're actually pulling a lot more weight off the pole. You're totally eliminating the noise generated by the cable due to handling of the pole, and you're providing this solution that is just better in every way. Of course, the ZMT Phantom is remote controllable, So from the sound cart, from distances as far as 500 feet, we're able to, in the middle of a take, control the gain of the transmitter while the shot is happening. Mm-hmm. So between having this very, very lightweight solution, a very small solution, and also having the internal recording inside the transmitter, you've got this boom pole that gives you the capability to provide its own track, mm-hmm. which means you can then take this transmitter and the pole and go out and record nat sound or do whatever you would like to do separate from the sound cart.
Uh-huh. I think it's worth mentioning, this isn't simply like an adapter cable situation, because you could make a mic work with any 3-pin LEMO transmitter. Right. This really turns it into a balanced input.
Well, that's right. The input is absolutely balanced, so you're going to have the proper, what we call common mode rejection, mm-hmm. so that if you hold the boom pole near some lighting, it's not going to pick up any hum.
Right.
Which is a big difference over the traditional, type of body mic that's been used on a boom pole, because those are absolutely single-ended and are just, picking up all of those types of interference.
Right.
So there's no, special power supply cables. It's all inside the transmitter.
And so let's, for those viewers curious to know how this changeover happens, can you show us on this transmitter how you might change it from a lav to work with a boom?
Of course. Basically, if we go to the overhead, mm-hmm. This is the main menu. All we have to do is just hit the menu button till we get to the Phantom power. And right now it's set for 3 volts, which is our lavalier power. I'm not going to turn that off because I don't want to lose my audio. And the funny part is I'm not going to lose my audio, because if I go to 12 volt, 24, 36, or 45 volt, it's asking me to reboot the transmitter. This is a safety thing, because we want to make sure that someone doesn't, just start going through the menu and end up putting 40 plus volts on a lavalier microphone.
Perfect.
So really easy.
So set your voltage and turn it off and on and off it.
That's right. And when it does power up, it's going to tell you on power up what the voltage is set to, so that if you're going to plug into a microphone that doesn't, into a transmitter that doesn't have a microphone, what it's going to be before you plug it in.
I think we've covered the salient points. It does both Phantom and it'll work with a lavalier. And like the ZMT-Phantom 1, it works with multiple Phantom voltages and has all of the advantages of the Zaxcom ecosystem. And it's the same price, and it replaces a Zaxcom Phantom ZMT Phantom 1. So that was the what do the kids call it? TLDR for the video. And then I think, we did want to take this opportunity to sort of go into some deeper discussions.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I think there's other factors here that, are very specific to Zaxcom that I think it's important for the customers to know when they buy a Zaxcom wireless, what they're getting, and how the wireless is different from other models that are available in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. With Zaxcom wireless, of course, we have NeverClip as a feature of Zaxcom wireless. Now, let's be specific about one thing. This product does not include NeverClip because the case is only so big. But what it does give you is a minimum of 108 dB dynamic range, which is very close, if not exceeding that dynamic range of lavalier microphones. So, with the gain adjusted correctly, you're not going to have any clipping situation. But then again, it's, there is no NeverClip in this, which is a wonderful feature for our standard body packs.
Right. Because
someone might say with this transmitter, well, why do I need the standard ZMT3, which is the body pack version of this transmitter? Mm-hmm. And, ZMT3 does have NeverClip. It is designed, again, just for putting on people. There is a price difference of a little over $200. So you're getting a lower cost transmitter, and you're getting a transmitter with NeverClip from the ZMT3. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, there may be people that do want to go and spend a little extra money and have all of their transmitters be capable of 48 or 12 volt Phantom, as well as the lavalier audio as well.
Right.
Just a point for people watching this, the audio that you're hearing right now is coming through the ZMT3-Phantom.
Right.
And what I'll do is I'll keep quiet for a second so they can hear the room tone. There you go. It's funny, there's a little kind of whoosh in the background from some water pipe or something.
Oh, this is the noisiest room in the...
No, but this way they can hear how low the noise floor is on this transmitter. I mean, it is just really, really wonderful.
Talk to me about modulation. There's some confusion about this in my head, at least.
Okay.
What's best to use? What are the different schemes?
Sure. Well, basically, Zaxcom has the most advanced transmission system of any of the wireless microphones. When I say most advanced, I mean, we can take transmitters and we can actually space them as close as 100 kilohertz. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this allows you in a 6 megahertz TV channel to put 60 transmitters. And that's at full power, which on this transmitter is 75 milliwatts. So that's unheard of in the industry. Each of the modulations, and there are 4, are used for different purposes. Our oldest modulation, our first one, is called mono. And monomodulation is basically, at this point, just a compatible modulation with every receiver we ever put out. So that's an important thing to have out there. Then we have XR modulation. XR modulation stands for extended range. The thing about XR is it gives us tremendous distance, physical distance, where, utilizing this microphone on a clear channel, up to 500 feet is really not a big deal. In fact, people have seen XR modulation in our video go across the Hudson River.
And what are some of the trade-offs? Why wouldn't I just always have it on XR?
Well, just really the compatibility mode. It wouldn't be compatible with our older receivers. Okay. So that would be one issue with XR. There's a very nice advantage to XR as well. XR modulation is much friendlier, if I can use that term, to microphones that have RF interference issues. Many microphones, when I say many, quite a few. Mm-hmm. If you take a digital transmitter and hold it close to the microphone, can cause interference to the microphone. Now, of course, on a boom pole, when you've got the microphone at the end of the pole and you've got the transmitter at the end of the pole, in a sensitive microphone, this can be a problem. XR modulation is about 3 dB less prone to interfering with the microphone than other modulations that are out there from Zaxcom and other companies. So XR would definitely be the modulation to use if a microphone was RF sensitive. Another thing that Zaxcom offers, and we actually have a special filter that goes in the XLR connector on the microphone that we've designed to be the most effective filtering that you can have as far as RF getting into the microphone through the cable.
And is that the cable that you brought here now?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, but does it look like that cable?
You wouldn't know, okay, because the filter fits in the connector. So I'd have to take apart the connector to know if that's the case. Okay. Generally speaking, the DPA 4017 is not RF sensitive.
Right, but okay. Just for our customers, how would they order the special cable? Like how is it?
Well, we don't make cables, but if a customer does order this and has an issue, the dealer can actually get a filter from us and make a cable for the customer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it really does a very good job in making sure that microphones that are sensitive are probably 10 to 20 dB less sensitive with our filter. And again, it is designed specifically to work with microphones because a lot of the filtered connectors that are out there are not designed for microphone use and are very ineffective at canceling out RF that can come down a cable, because basically it still just allows the RF to get into the microphone. There's just nothing to really stop it.
Whereas the filtering technology that you use keeps it out of the microphone.
That's right. It's a different mode that cuts off the RF in a different way.
And so the XR mode combined with this connector, or this specially constructed connector, really should take care of any issues with older RF prone.
Right. There's no absolute guarantee, but if we can offer 10 to 20 dB of immunity that is not available in any other system, I mean, that's something that, I think is a wonderful thing for customers that use Zaxcom digital wireless on their boom poles.
Now, there's two other modulation modes. Is that right?
Yes. Those are ZHD96 and ZHD48. What those modes do is they allow you to space your transmitters closer together than is possible with the other modes. I mean, basically, you've got a transmission signal that is only 96 kilohertz wide with ZHD96 or 48 kilohertz wide with ZHD48. Very, again, advanced modulations. And in different scenarios, these are really important in helping customers put a lot of transmitters together in a small amount of spectrum. The other benefit to ZHD modulation is that its ability to resist reflection-based interference is amazing.
Reflection-based interference, so meaning like if I'm on a kitchen set with lots of stainless steel everywhere.
Not so much that, because if you're on that kind of set, you're not very far away.
Okay.
So reflections tend to be less of an issue there. Where they are more of an issue is if you're, let's say, on a New York City street and you've got signals that come to you directly. Okay, maybe perfect example would be you're on one side of a street and the talent is on the other side of the street. So you've got all this traffic going back and forth across the street. Big truck goes in front of you. Okay, your direct signal is reduced by quite a bit.
Right.
But the signal that you have bouncing off the buildings is not. Okay, so for the receiver, there's a time difference in that signal transmission. That's where you get the dropouts.
Right.
And the ZHD modulations are far better at eliminating those dropouts than the other modulations.
So I think I understand some of the strengths behind these modulation schemes. I'm going to try and summarize it.
Go ahead.
So mono, its main strength is compatibility.
Correct.
XR is long range, is its main strength, and RFI
Protection.
And the ZHD 48 and 96 have two advantages. One being that you can pack a bunch of them in close proximity within a given spectrum, and the other is that they handle reflections more gracefully. Is that fair? Is that fair to say?
I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head, Peter.
So this is leading up to this. We all get this. All the dealers get this. New customer to Zaxcom, and they call up and they say, I'm interested in Zaxcom. I've read some about these different modulation schemes. I have a job coming up. What do I choose? Which one do I choose? How do we walk them through that decision?
Generally speaking, XR, I believe, is the best modulation for general use. If a customer is going to have a situation where they're working in a very, very crowded spectrum area, then the ZHD modulations would be what I would recommend. The nice part about any of this is you can change modulations, on the fly. I mean, you get out somewhere and you realize you're having an issue with something, you're not in trouble. You can choose what's best.
Because ZaxNet will tell the transmitter to change the modulation scheme, is that right?
No, you decide to do that basically, when you start the production.
Okay.
Okay, that's not something that we remote control. I think that we could do that, but we're not doing that.
Okay.
I mean, of course, there's a lot of latitude in remote control, whether it's audio levels, frequency control, power roll. Again, the transmitters are all remote controllable through Zaxnet, through our recorders, whether it's the Diva 24, the Nomad. What we haven't touched on is the integration of the system, which, I mean, we've talked about that many, many times, and that is an incredible feature for the customer base. But I think that in terms of utilizing Zaxcom transmitters, again, it's the most evolved, most technologically advanced system out there, and I think the customers especially with the way the software is now, will find it, quite easy to use. And, to sum it up, whether it's through transmission or whether it's through internal recording, with the Zaxcom system, you're going to have the audio at the end of the day, no dropouts, because it's always available to you, either in the main recorder or through the backup, the ultimate backup.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we will conclude. Again, thank you for taking the time to come here.
Thank you, Peter. It's always a pleasure to be here and with your staff. It's it's a great thing.
Aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're take a bow, guys, right here.
Thank you for watching. Please visit our video archives at gothamsound.tv. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Send ideas for videos to info@gothamsound.com. And hope to see you again real soon. Thank you for watching.